class at the University of Tennessee, and I'm going to ask him some questions today about being a sports journalist. My first question is, how did you get started in the career?
Well, I went to a small liberal arts college that didn't even have journalism and was just got a business degree and was working in Lexington, Kentucky. And after about 4 years of working in a government office, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. So I'd always liked writing, so I was right there in town with the University of Kentucky. So I just quit my job and I'm kind of on a lark and got into journalism school and got another degree in journalism and just interviewed several places. Ended up taking a sports editor job at a real small paper in Middlesboro, Kentucky. That was the start.
Okay. Let's see. What sports did you start covering when you first started?
Well, my first job was a small town paper, I did everything. I was the sports department. I wrote the stories, covered the games, took the pictures, developed the film, laid out the page. Then as I moved up to the next bigger paper I went to was in Owensboro, Kentucky, and there I worked some on the desk, but mainly covered basketball, college basketball, and some high school sports. And then I came to the News Sentinel, and it's been primarily Tennessee football and basketball, but I've done a little bit of everything.
Okay. What skills do you think is necessary for a journalist to have to be successful in this industry?
Well, you got to be able to write. To me, that's real important. You got to have curiosity. This may sound silly, but one of the most helpful things I did was in high school, taking just a typing class, and I'm a real good typist. So there are a lot of guys out there pecking with fingers, but I've always thought being a good typist helped. But just understanding the English language and being able to write. I think whether you're in print media or electronic media, you need to know how to write.
Okay. What are your long-term goals?
Well, my long-term, I'm kind of at the end of my long-term. I've been at the News Sentinel 30 years, so my goal, though, was when I got into the business was to get to a city. Once I got to a city the size of Knoxville, I was fine. I didn't need to go anywhere bigger. I really love college sports. That's what I grew up on, so I didn't feel like I needed to go cover pro sports anywhere. So being in a city this size and covering college sports I was happy doing that. And then when I shifted from being a beat writer to a columnist, that at a certain point in my career, that was kind of a goal too.
Okay. What sports do you primarily cover nowadays? Like what teams, different sports? Do you have a beat that you focus on?
I don't have a beat for a long time. I was for a few years, my beat was UT basketball and football. Then it was UT basketball for a long time. But for about 10 years, I don't really have a beat. I'm a columnist who also does other things. So I write columns and I help out with UT football and UT basketball mainly. But then when those seasons are over, when the spring rolls around, the summer, I could be doing anything.
Okay. Do you think it's possible or a good idea for a sports journalist to report on a team that they're biased towards, they may be a fan of?
Well, no, I don't. I don't think that's a good idea at all. And I grew up around in Kentucky, being a University of Kentucky fan, and I would say when I went to journalism school, when I entered journalism at school at UK, I still was, but I there began a process while I was at the student paper of getting away from being a fan, and it was a process, and then when I got out into actual newspaper jobs, I don't know, it just gradually I got away from being a fan, and then I think it helps too if you move out of state to somewhere else too. So I've always been real comfortable that coming to Tennessee where I hadn't been a fan at all. I think we have both types of people covering the team here. When I say we, I mean the media. There are some that are UT grads and a lot of us that aren't. But no, short answer is no. It's not a good idea to be a bias toward a team you're covering.
Okay. And I guess if you could just tell us, what's your day-to-day normally like as a sports journalist?
Well, it's very flexible. When I think of day to day, week to week, it's very flexible, and I like that. It's not 8 o'clock to 5:30 Monday through Friday. You kind of at the start of the week you lay out your week. What days you're going to be off? What are you going to cover? What are you going to do? And so there really is not a typical day, and I like that.
What's your favorite, or if you can't think of specifically favorite, but what's one of your favorite sports events that you've covered in your life?
I got to cover 4 men's Final Fours in basketball, and to me, I love basketball. I like football too, but I love basketball, and that was really special, really fun, and it was even better because I wasn't covering a team there. I could just go write whatever I thought was the best story. I didn't have to worry about my team that I was covering. Another thing I really enjoyed was I got to cover the Kentucky Derby for a long time, and that's just a real special event. And so I would say those two, the Final Four, the Kentucky Derby.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this interview with me.
Okay, glad to help out.
All right.